everyone, Mike Evans from the Australian Security Academy, and I've lost my microphone. Hi everybody, this is Mike Evans live from the Australian Security Academy without a microphone. They should never have asked me to do live stuff. I'm the wrong person to be doing it. Great news. Whoops, great news this week, everybody. We've got some really good news coming your way. Firstly, we've got to have a look at these little guys. Here's the first one. And here he is. This is Toto. Toto's our dash hound of the month, and here he is wearing his Hugo & Co. bandana. If you would like a private investigator camouflage bandana for yourself and your dog, put the name of your dog in the comment section on the right and the size of the dog, small dog, medium dog, or large dog, and I will get your postal address off you if you're an Australian person, and I will send you a bandana for your dog, just like Toto is wearing there. Toto is our dash hound of, what are you, Toto? You're the Australian Security Academy, Hugo & Co.'s official private investigator dash hound of the month. Global. Well, that's a pretty big effort for you there, Toto. Well done, mate. Really great that you've got your bandana on and you look fantastic. I hope Mum doesn't lose you in your backyard while you're wearing that. So we'll move on from Toto. See who else we've got. Let's have a look. And here's Zeus. Zeus. It's the Hugo & Co. state winner of Tasmania's North Central region over 7 kilograms class Canine Private Investigator Dog of the Year. So rest easy, citizens. There's Zeus wearing his Australian Security Academy Hugo & Co. bandana. Well done, Zeus. Put your name over there with your dog's name and the size of it, small, medium, or large, and I will send you by post a bandana for your dog. I need to know whether it's a small dog, medium dog, or large dog. Let me know. I will ask you your postal address. Hugo & Co. have given me all these bandanas to send, so please do it, and you'll be just as good looking as Zeus and Toto. Well, it's been a very busy week once again in investigations around Australia. There's some sad stuff been happening, and there's all sorts of stuff been happening. One of the first things in government fraud control down in Victoria is V-Line being probed by IBAC. Now, there's been some alleged fraudulent activity at V-Line, and so IBAC have got involved and they're investigating. Now, this is really good for you people who are studying to be Australian government investigators, because this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be doing fraud and corruption in government departments, and this is going to relate to procurement and misconduct, and they're going to investigate that, and if they find that the allegations are true, well, then someone is not going to be employed in the government for very long. But we'll wait and see that. If they're only allegations, it's only started at the moment, but that's come out this week that IBAC, the corruption watchdog in Victoria, that's the Victorian equivalent of ICAC, have started to take notice at V-Line. So keep your eye on that. It'll be in the newspapers. Excuse me. A lot of people write to me and they say, look, how do the police come up with these operational names? Now, I don't know whether you've been watching this week, but around Australia, they had Operation Morpheus, where they targeted the Mongols bikie gang. So with Operation, Hell's Angels, not Mongols, whoops, sorry guys, Hell's Angels bikie gang. So they called it Operation Morpheus. Now, Operation Morpheus, there's Morpheus, that's him out of the movie that we all used to love called I Can't Remember, which is not our movie of the week, but there's Morpheus. How do the police come up with all these names? What's involved? Can you do it in your private investigation? I've certainly done it. So how do they come up with these things? Let's have a look at how they do that in policing with operational names. So someone in the police is getting paid 85 grand a year plus 4 weeks holiday and superannuation to come up with those names. How do you get them? That's really easy. You want to give yourself a decent name as private investigator as your code name, or you want to give your operation a code name. Just go to Fantasy Name Generator. Just type in www.fantasynamegenerator and you can come up with your own private investigator code name. And you can put that in the comments below. Oh, I'm sorry, in the comments over on the side. What's your private investigator code name? Is it Secret Squirrel? What is it? Who knows? Fantasy generators, really great if you're a writer and you need some inspiration. It's a good little website, and I'm sure the police use that for theirs as well. So they use it as it said in that start of that video, you know, Operation Paper was in relation to the Comancheros. The name of the operation cannot relate to what they're investigating. It'll give too much away. For example, I don't know, we might have Operation Crisp Adam. That would be for people who are insomniacs and can't go to sleep. So maybe if they had that operation, it would help them go to sleep. But on the other hand, if we had Operation Chris Hemsworth, that would be really exciting. So names are important, but they cannot relate to what it's about. You saw in there that there's something about oyster substitution was called Operation Trident. There's some great ones in there. So that's what they do in relation to those, but the name cannot have any relationship as to what it's about or what they're doing. Around Australia this week, there's been some terrible anniversaries in investigation. Now, most of these relate to criminal investigation, but there's lessons to be learnt in private investigation there as well. The first one is Simone Strobel, who was a German backpacker, and she was murdered in Lismore some 15 years ago. Now, this is really important as an investigator, a government investigator, and as a private investigator that you understand this. The police attended the scene, did a scene inspection. They had a very good idea of how she was killed. through the forensic examination, that sort of thing. But people confess to things that they don't do. So Lismore's a bit of a tragic town in a sort of colder part, depressed part of New South Wales. And, you know, in a correctional facility, you get 3 meals a day. It's nice and warm, it's air conditioned, and you don't have to sleep rough on the footy ground at Lismore in the blackberries, in the freezing cold, in the rain. So people would go and confess to the murder of Simone Strobel. They'd walk into the police station and say, you know, that German backpacker, I'm the one that did it. And the police would go, well, how did you do it? And they'd go, oh, I hit her with an axe. And the police know that she wasn't killed by an axe. So they said, no, sorry, mate, we're not arresting you, we're not putting you away. So people going in deliberately confessing to that murder, and they do it for other murders as well, just to I don't know, get notoriety or get 3 meals a day in a comfortable bed, which is in a facility they're used to. So keep that in mind, that when the police do this 15 years later, they're offering a $1 million reward now for the person that has information that will lead to the conviction of the person who murdered the young lady. Very terrible situation, not just for the young lady, but for her family as well. And equally as terrible, it's now the 25th anniversary of this young lady's death in Tasmania at a beach, Beaumaris, on the east coast of Tasmania. She went there by herself. She was sunbaking, and she was murdered at the time. Now, there were several suspects at the time. There was a couple of creeps that lived locally, and they've never been able to link the actual murderer to her because it happened on a beach with the tide and the sand and the wind and all that sort of thing. It covered up a lot of evidence in relation to it. You're not murdered 1 second and then found the next second. There'll be some time between her death and her incapacity or whatever before she was found there. So that's 25 years, and they're still trying to find the person that did that. There are books being written about it. The most likely suspect was actually a local doctor. He had a mental illness and he ended up living on the street in Melbourne. So I don't know if he's passed away since or not. But there was a big list of suspects that were in the area at the time, but they've never linked that. And Victoria Cafasso's parents still have no closure on it. Equally in Tasmania, Nancy Grunwald at the same time, or just around the same time as Victoria Cafasso, she went missing. She was killed, and they've never found a body, but someone there knows what happened. They believe that she was cycling and she was bumped off the road somewhere. So that's the same time as it's 3 very tragic overseas backpackers' deaths over time, still to be resolved, but police working very hard on it. Keep in mind the lesson here, particularly about Simone Strobel, is that people confess to things they didn't do. So when you know when the police don't release some parts of what their investigation is, they hold some things back, and they know that only the murderer will know that. When people go and confess to it, they know if it's genuine or not. So that's just something that's happened this week in investigations in Australia. So 15 years since this one in Lismore. In investigations this week, there have been an enormously large amount of investigation vacancies advertised. So let's have a look. Just gotta let it go. I often sit and wish that I could just change my past. To think about you, Dad, there's so much shit that I could ask. Like, why am I still haunted by the day that you left? Okay, so we'll go through them bit by bit. There's quite a few. There's going to be a bit to get through here. All right, so firstly, Barringtons in New South Wales are looking for compulsory third-party investigators. So that means they're after factual investigators to do compulsory third-party motor vehicle accident claims. So that's where someone has been injured by a vehicle driven by an insured driver, and they're suing the insured driver. So Barringtons have a vacancy there for licensed private investigators in New South Wales. If you're a licensed private investigator, get on my Facebook job vacancies page. Here it is. I only put up 30% of the job vacancies that are out there. I do not have time to put up every job vacancy, but you will see them, and you can look through 3 years of historical job vacancies to do your research. But this is the Facebook page where you will see them. So please, people, join that Facebook page. See what's coming up. So Barrington's, you'll see their job there, and the person to contact is the nicest bloke in the Australian investigation industry. His name's Don. His email address is at that Facebook page. Get in touch with Don. Say Mike Evans sent you, right? I'd like to do CTP investigations, Don. So get in touch with him. He's a great guy. Sure Fact, who we had on last week, Pat Henderson, they're still looking for factual investigators in New South Wales and Victoria. So people, get in touch with them. Again, your contacts are on my Facebook page. So Sure Fact, they're looking for factual investigators. They want factual investigators, New South Wales and Victoria. If you live in another state as well, they're a growing investigation agency. Get in touch with them. Clarity Workplace Investigations are looking for factual investigators. So Clarity Workplace Solutions, they are looking for factual investigators in Melbourne and in Sydney. Get in touch with them, send them your resume, tell them you're licensed. They like to employ full-time employees, not subcontractors. So get in touch with them, have a talk to them, tell them your license, send them your resume, send them copies of the statements you took in the Australian Security Academy course that you did. They will be really pleased to see that. They like to see that kind of thing. So get in touch with them. Don't forget, people, if you're looking for these jobs, they're over here, all right, at this Facebook page, Australian Private Investigator Corporate Government Investigation Jobs. So Clarity Workplace Investigations are looking for people. I'm going to come back with some more in a minute, but let's have a look at something else. First, should you have a ghillie suit as a surveillance agent? Don't tell Pat Flynn that Mike Evans said that his presentation that he did in relation to concealment in bush and rural surveillance was the best presentation that Mike has ever seen in 20 years of teaching private investigations and bush and rural surveillance or anything else. That presentation by Pat on that day to those bush and rural surveillance investigators was absolutely first class. It was the Bible of bush and rural surveillance concealment. Well done, Pat Flynn. He's on holidays at the moment. He won't see this, people. So don't tell him what I said, okay? He thinks Chris Badham's the best teacher I've seen, so don't tell him anything else, all right? So, yeah, if ever you do get a chance to do the Bush and Rural Surveillance Program at the Australian Security Academy, that presentation by itself takes 30 minutes and you will go away shaking your head going, why didn't I know that before? And you will burn your ghillie suit. So back to some of those job vacancies. What else have we got that's a vacancy out there at the moment? So AHC Investigations in Sydney advertised this week for factual investigators. Again, get in touch with them through my Facebook page. They're looking for factual investigators, just like Clarity Workplace Solutions, Barrington's, and all the others. Probe in Melbourne. Probe are looking for factual investigators. They're great people to work for. A lot of people get their start at Probe. They call it circumstance investigation in Victoria. There, you've learned something already. So what's factual investigation everywhere else in the world is circumstantial investigation in Victoria. That's grouse, man. You won't hear that anywhere else in the world except Victoria either. Call Integrity Work. They look after a workplace investigator. They want a full-time one, not a subcontractor. Get on my Facebook page. The vacancy's there, and you will see it's in New South Wales. They're looking for investigators. If they want one, they may want more. And lastly, LKA are looking for factual and surveillance investigators, New South Wales and Queensland. So people, that's all those organisations have advertised this week that I've seen, like I keep maintaining. I do not put them all up. I don't have time. I'm too busy teaching to go researching jobs. But look on the Australian Security Academy Private Investigator Corporate Investigations job site and you will see them. So keep monitoring that Facebook page. Keep looking for it, and certainly you'll see what's happening there. One of the things I'm often asked is, I have to apply to the Victorian Police Licensing Regulation Division to become a security business in Victoria. Can you help me with that? Yes, we help a lot of people, because the reason we help them is they study the required qualification through us. So that's the Certificate for Security Risk Analysis now. So one of the best tips I can give you whenever you're interacting with the police in relation to complying with what they require, police work through different agencies and different parts. You know, they're in traffic one stage, or in murder the next, and then they'll move on to, I don't know, bombers or terrorists or something else. I'm not a policeman, I don't know. But they work in different areas and they have very little understanding of anything outside of policing. Now, you've heard me in this program before. So if you want to communicate with people, right, you use basically the standard communication in their pop culture. And if you can use pop culture, you can communicate with anyone. If you can't use that, you'll never be a spy in any country in the world, because they'll identify you as someone who just doesn't know pop culture. Now, the pop culture in policing is everything's regimental, everything's shiny shoes, everything's tactical. So if you're doing a written submission to the Victorian Police Licensing Regulation Division about your standard operating procedures or something like that, liberally place the word tactical in front of it, right? So you've got a tactical this and a tactical that, and they understand that. The more they read that word, the more your submission will go up the ladder to a positive result. So add tactical in it. If you can't remember that, here's a way to remember it. Here's some website selling tactical stubby holders. Now, that is totally ridiculous. What is a tactical stubby holder? There's absolutely no reason on planet Earth to have a stupid tactical stubby holder. They're just trying to rip you off. They probably cost $50 each for military style people who like tactical stuff, like my tactical bow tie I'm wearing. Okay. So use the word tactical liberally in your applications with the Victorian Police for your security business. Now, we've got heaps of tips on that, SOPs and stuff like that to help you with, because we want to get your security company up and running in Victoria and having more investigators working for it. One of the queries I got today is, can I see samples of what you teach people? No, nobody's getting a free look at my course. It's written by 28 investigators. It's the preeminent course of its kind in Australia. We've been teaching it for 20 years and I don't care who you are. You're not buying a course for your personal use to train other people, and I won't let you look at it. But every now and again, they'll use snippets of that course in here. Now, they have much more further explanation in the course itself, but here's just a little quick guide of one of the things that one of our trainers said once that really hit it with me about investigations and knowing when they're complete. That investigator basically applies 3 things to the investigation all the way through. When all the questions, only 3 questions are answered, they know they've got a complete investigation. Here it is. 3 questions to ask all the way through an investigation. What have I been given? You've got a set of instructions to go and do something. It might be investigate Chris Badham. It might be Operation Investigate Chris Hemsworth. Who knows? But a set of instructions will tell you what to do. Okay. The next question is, what else might be available? So when you've got those instructions, what can you go and do? I can interview witnesses. I can go and inspect the scene. I can do searches to find potential witnesses. I could see if there's CCTV. And then the last question you ask is, what else can I get? When those 3 questions are thoroughly answered, you know you've done a complete investigation. Now, there's a whole lot of details in between all that, but that's your basic building block of an investigation in 3 questions. And it's very simple. It doesn't complicate things, and it's quite easy to grasp that concept and build a very good investigation business on that concept. So this week, people, we've been through job vacancies, we've been through operational names. Do not waste your money on a ghillie suit. Don't ever wear a ghillie suit. What's that tree doing? Walking around. If I wore a ghillie suit, I'd look like a complete forest. Going to watch it. Not just one skinny tree. So please don't do that. Okay, I'm almost out of time. It's been a really busy week in investigations in Australia. Job vacancies everywhere. I can't keep up with the job vacancies. There's investigations going on with IBAC. ICAC and the Premier's been admitting in New South Wales that ICAC are looking at the Premier, and then ICAC are releasing confidential information accidentally. This is just the best week ever in investigations. There's going to be heads rolling and a lot of explanations to do at ICAC. So it's been a great week. Thanks for dropping by, people. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Don't tell Pat Flynn that I said his presentation was the best one I've ever seen. He knows I've seen a lot of investigations. I look forward to seeing you next week. I'm Mike Evans from the Australian Security Academy, going out with my favourite people.
작전 종료. 전원 복귀할 것.
All units. God love Korea. If you're a newsworthy private investigator, you've got job vacancies or anything like that, anything's happening out there, you've got a new product that private investigators must use and you want it road tested, if you've got a movie of the week, get in touch with me. I'll see you next Friday at 2 o'clock Queensland time, 3 o'clock Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Thanks for going. Mike Evans from the Australian Security Academy. See you then. Bye.